Hey guys, it's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1,
and we're back at it to answer your questions in another episode of For the Greater.
Now this is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, simply comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And that is what nobody did. What we wanted to do right off the bat is talk about this announcement of WhizKids collaborating or partnering up with Gamesworkshop.
Yeah.
If you don't know the history of this channel was originally a HeroClix channel. So we put out battle reports on the game of HeroClix, which is owned by WhizKids. WhizKids is another company that produces really cool games. They have like Dice Masters.
Yeah.
They have like a bunch of games with different IPs. So what's awesome about HeroClix, and the thing that really drew us into HeroClix, was the fact that you can take your like Marvel characters and DC characters and battle them out.
Yeah, and not just that, but you could also have like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
you got Halo in there.
So they had a bunch of different universes all into one game, and you can just sit down and play with your friends and basically battle each other.
Right.
It wasn't a free map. You had kind of like a checkered pattern type of map, where you have spaces. You still had elevation, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You still had different like levels and whatnot.
Yeah. It was a really interesting game. We stopped covering it just because we got back into Warhammer 40k, because Warhammer 40k is king. I still think that 40k is a much better game than HeroClix, but it's just that HeroClix is so much faster.
Yeah, you could play like 6 games in the matter of
2 hours. Yeah. So now, with this partnering between these two companies, we will be covering whatever they come out with. What I was thinking, though, is because Games Workshop is so well known for their models, their sculpts, I don't feel that WhizKids is going to introduce those models into like a game like HeroClix, because HeroClix was just, you know, you had little models of like Superman and Batman or whatever. So I don't think we're gonna start seeing Space Marine models by HeroClix is not gonna produce these Space Marine models, because that'd be kind of conflicting.
Yeah, you'd have like a kind of a choice between choosing to use HeroClix or buying the, you know, GW stuff.
Yeah, and even though the GW stuff would probably look way better, the sculpts would look more detailed and more amazing, you know, I'm pretty sure people will be tempted to buy a $5 box of HeroClix instead of the $50 box of GW stuff.
Yeah, and usually HeroClix stuff is all painted up too, right?
Yeah, it's pre-painted, so you don't do... You could, if you want, you could like alter...
Yeah, touch-ups, change the color scheme, something like that.
Yeah, but there is a huge difference between the gaming community of HeroClix and the gaming community of Warhammer. So in 40k, we invest not just in the actual game, but everything behind the game. So I'm talking about the painting, the sculpting, the lore, all that kind of stuff.
Conversions, making this army your own.
Yeah, whereas HeroClix, it's not like that at all.
Yeah, basically the only thing you have control of is team building. Yeah,
team building was really big. So it's basically like Magic the Gathering, or it's the same crowd as Magic the Gathering. Kind of same mentality of like you focus more on winning the game rather than 40k, where you focus more on making it your own army. You truly are building an army. So it's going to be interesting to see that and see how a whole new stream of players is going to come into Warhammer 40k, because, you know, they're going to mix, and then we'll see what ends up happening.
Right. So this whole new partnership, basically they're going to come out, like how you said, dice games, board games, and they are going to revive some really old school games. I believe Relic and Fury of Dracula. These are like really old school games that they're kind of going to, you know, bring in with new rules and make it more pertinent to the times.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
And we're going to cover it. So that's what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the questions now.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think about this partnership. Do you guys play HeroClix? And if not, go way back. I'm talking about like maybe what 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And check out our old school battle reports with HeroClix. Really awesome, really funny stuff. We used to do skits back then, so check those out too.
Yeah, at the beginning of every battle report, we had a skit, right?
Yeah, that was some interesting times.
That was fun. All right, let's get into the questions. Next question comes from Fish Ballista. He asks, "What is your opinion on Arc Warhammer?" Whoo, you're going there. So Arc Warhammer is another YouTuber who is also who makes lore videos. So back in the day, way back, it was like 2 years ago, I binge watched all the Vaults of Terra lore videos, and then I was looking for more lore channels. This is before we started making our own lore videos.
I think we were still playing HeroClix back at that time.
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
And I found Arc Warhammer, and he has some really good content on Warhammer fantasy lore. So I watched his video on the orcs, or yeah, I think they're called orcs.
With a C.
With a C, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the orc with a K.
But yeah, it's another really good YouTube channel that puts out good lore content. That's what I think of him. He did comment on one of our videos from last week where we talked about representation in Warhammer 40K. So I'll read it to you guys. He says, "I think it's perfectly okay to take a wait-and-see approach to this issue. If you don't know much about it. Tough. I suspect you may...
No.
Oh, no. Though I suspect you may not be fully aware of the scope of it. This is not about representation. It never is for modern feminism. It is about control. We have seen this in Magic the Gathering. We have seen it in gaming, and we have seen it in politics. And personally, I have absolutely no intention of giving them the benefit of the doubt. I would be happy to have both of you on my channel in a video, and I could perhaps try to explain some of the wider context and see if we might agree or disagree. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check out, because I know you posted a couple videos on this topic. I've never watched them though, but that's on my to-do list or to-watch list. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to check those out, and then we'll hit you up and see if we can collaborate.
Yeah, definitely. This topic has been, you know, everywhere that there's 40K, they generally try to talk about this, and it's a widely controversial topic. So there's a lot of die-hard fans of this game, and when you put all the opinions and thought aside, the one thing that everybody agrees on is that Warhammer 40K is something that we are truly invested into. We put our time, our money, our efforts, our painting, our building, our modeling into this awesome game. And at the end of the day, what we really want is a game that we can all enjoy. More so yourself, because obviously you're putting all this effort into it. And to see, you know, other people's thoughts and opinions coming into this game and kind of changing the way things are, that's going to cause a lot of opinions. So yeah, this is a really awesome topic, and hopefully we can collab or something.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll hit you up.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool that we got a comment from Arc Warhammer. Hopefully we get one from Vaults of Terra soon.
Next question is by Comrade Commissar. If the Death Corps of Krieg sieges the Valharan Ice Warriors homeworld, who would win, and how long do you think this battle would last? So, Valhallans have a tendency to be tough. They're living in this ice-cold, brutal world, and they are just awesome fighters. Now, the Death Corps of Krieg, they're also brutal. They are non-stop savage. There was an instance where they sacked a city, and once the city surrendered, they still sacked it for like another 3 years. So they are like over-the-top brutal. But I'm gonna have to give it up to the Death Corps of Krieg. There's nowhere really in the Valhallan lore that I've read that kind of makes them go over the top compared to the Kriegers.
Yeah, they would just fight a war of attrition.
Basically,
so,
yeah.
What's awesome about Krieg is the world itself just pumps out regiments to the point where most of the Imperial Guardsmen from that planet are children.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a battle of attrition that I think I would give it to the Death Korps of Kree.
Now, even though they're fighting on an ice planet and they're not 100% used to fighting on, you know, these type of crazy worlds.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're just going to pummel them to oblivion.
Yeah. The snow will be covered by the bodies of 1,000 children who are soldiers.
Right.
It's actually kind of sad.
Yeah.
Next question. I have one from Guns Kude. In theory, from one situation to another is change. Okay, in theory, from one situation to another is change. Example, calm to anger is change. Standing still to be butchered is change. So shouldn't... Then you just keep going on. So shouldn't be Tzeentch most powerful being in the galaxy? Either I understand this change concept totally wrong, or Tzeentch is a total noob. So Tzeentch is very calculating and does not like to exhaust. I guess he's not like Korn, where he just throws things to die. If he's gonna fight a battle, he's gonna be very strategic, yeah. And to that point, Tzeentch sees the entirety of the game that the Dark Gods are playing as like a huge, like, you know, strategic plan. So being the best is probably not or being on top is not to the advantage of Tzeentch, and Tzeentch sees that. Yeah. So that's why I think...
Because when you're on top, everybody's gunning forward. You're gunning forward to you. Like, you're putting yourself out there. You're making yourself known. And like Tzeentch, he's more behind the scenes.
Yes.
He'll be the puppet master and manipulate you in ways that you never see coming. Kind of like Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. This guy had plans behind plans in case of things backfired, but, you know.
At the end of the day, you just get stabbed.
Yeah.
Or did he get his throat slit?
Yep.
Yeah, right, okay. Next question.
Jacob Lubinsky. His question is, do you guys have any hints on making my own custom Space Marine figures?
Ooh, custom Space Marine figures is hard.
Yeah.
I tried doing that, and it's just, unless you're a really good sculptor, there's nothing that you can, you know, use other than the models itself.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like basically use a model as like the skeleton, and basically like use green stuff all over it and kind of mold it into your own thing, and that's really hard.
Yeah, it's not like orcs where you can make a Killer Khans, you can make cyborg orcs. Out of like nothing,
yeah,
like
tin cans, Pepsi bottles. Yeah.
Exactly, crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
A Space Marine, the design of a Space Marine is very unique, especially now with the Primaris Marines. Mm-hmm. To the point where, unless you're a sculptor, I don't think you could just
right, because like they have such a distinct design. If you try to, you know, vary it in such a way where it's completely devoid of that specification, it won't look uniform, so to speak, I guess.
Yeah, yep.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
So I'd say the best way to actually make a custom Space Marine is probably just to kit bash, convert it. For example, buy some like Grey Knight stuff and use their halberds, use their falchions, stuff like that you won't normally see in like a Space Marine squad.
Yep. Next question comes from Benjamin Gibson. Can gnolls get mutation other than being a gnoll? So a gnoll is somebody who possesses the pariah gene and they are not influenced by the warp.
Right.
And if they show up, then the warp itself, or any warp entity, like, feels unease because the connection between the immaterium and real space is being disrupted by this gnoll.
They can actually make you sick just by like standing near you.
Yeah. So can they have other mutations? Like regular human mutations, like maybe a third pinky or a slightly larger...
I thought you were going to say something else when you said pinky, but yeah.
But no, nothing as crazy as like a third eye, because those are all warp mutations.
Mm-hmm. Don't astropaths have that, or
yep.
warp navigators? Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Next question, Rich Roll. Do Astartes become more intelligent after they go through their organ implants and hypnotherapy? So basically, from a recruit to a starter, do they get smarter? Yeah, because their organs actually help their body process things faster. Their brains just get super powered. They're on overdrive all the time. Because in order to keep up with their, beefed up metabolism and strength and all that, they gotta, make sure that those signals are going to their muscles and back up just like that. Well, faster than that.
Yep. And the Emperor wanted Space Marines that could be leaders on their own. So that's why they're really smart.
Right.
Joe Blogs, this is the last question. Oh, alright. Why did you change your nicknames?
Oh, Alfarius and Omegon. That was just a little jab at the Alpha Legion because everybody's Alfarius.
Everybody's Alfarius.
He's Alfarius.
He's Alfarius.
We're all Alfarius.
Alfarius or Alfarius?
Alfarius.
Alfarius.
Yeah, there you go, guys.
And those were the questions for today. If you guys want to ask more questions, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question, and we'll see you tomorrow.
That's right. We do this 3 times a week, so if you didn't get to your question today, check out what?
Facebook, Twitter.
Maybe. Yeah. Sound Alchemist?
Gershwin.
We're out of here.